Morning YouTube, this is Prepper Bear. Today we're going to be talking about putting together a 9mm AR. I ordered a while back a Yankee diamond 9mm upper, and I wanted to show you how easy it is to assemble one of these and some of the differences between it and the 223 upper. One of the critical items in the conversion is actually the mag block. And let's just take a close look at the mag block itself, because it's very important to really see how this thing works, and to get some close-ups of how this mag block works. Now there's two types of mag blocks. There's the kind that go in from, and let me get the lower here. This is actually a spikes lower that I'm going to be converting into my AR rifle. And this is a standard spikes lower. Got even their buffer in there. But this is what I'm going to be using. There's two types of blocks. There's the kind that go in from the top, and a lot of times you have to take off the release here and then slide it in and then put it back on. Now this particular kind actually goes in from the bottom, and it just slides in like this. And there's a little set screw, and I'll just take a close-up if I can get it. There's a little set screw right in there, and what it does is it puts pressure on the mag well and holds it in. These are really nice because they have a little roller on there right here, and it pushes up against the mag well. It also has the feed ramps, some really nice feed ramps. This has actually been a very nice shooter for me. It's taken any kind of my reloads, 147 grain, 158 grain, plus the normal 115 steel case stuff. So let's go ahead and take a look at this, and we'll look at the upper real quick. So now the upper for the 9mm is very, very similar. Obviously there's a barrel, there's no gas, this is not gas fed. There's no gas tube, there's no gas block, nothing like this. It is just simply a blowback system. So let me just take out the bolt and show you the components of this. Let's take a look at the, and if we can get some good light on here, let me show you what the end of the barrel looks like. The end of the barrel is basically just like you would see in any blowback type gun. Some of the blowback 9mm, the non-locking ones. There's no feed ramps or anything like that. There is a chamfered area where the bullets slide up in there. But everything else is pretty much looks the same. Now this particular one does not have to have any kind of dedicated 9mm triggers. Now there's some that actually have 9mm triggers. You have to buy a special trigger in order for it to function. This does not have that. Let's take a look at the bolt itself. The bolt on this 9mm upper is really a simple blowback, and you can see it. It's pretty heavy, and there's of course the space where the trigger hits the firing pin, but this back piece here is very, very heavy, and nothing really special here. So let me pull out the bolt from a 223, and we'll do a little comparison of what these two look like. Okay, I got the two bolts sitting there together. You can see on the 223, obviously there's a locking lug that goes in and out. There's a gas tube, gas ports here. This even has forward assist on it, but Anyway, you can see the differences between these two bolts. One is significantly more heavy than the other one. This one, the 9mm, is pretty heavy. And I guess that's simply because of the blowback design. Now, let's go ahead and put together this. I mean, this goes together exactly the same way as you would a 223 upper. So, you know, you just put your charging handle in there, just put your bolt in, slide it in, and it's just right there. That's really easy. Now this Yankee Hill comes with the Yankee Hill diamond handguard. I put one of those NAGPUL handguards on it. This really this angled foregrip, I guess they call it. At the front end, and let me take some close-up pictures of that. At the front end, they have their flash hider, which looks like you could stab somebody with it. But this is a free-floating type barrel, and the barrel itself has the diamond pattern on it. It has the Yankee Hill. It has the Yankee Hill sights on it. These came right on it. They're really nice and high quality. Let's just take a look. This is the NAGPUL fore end. It's got, of course, the little markings for the dust cover that say that it's 9mm. Sorry for the shaky action. And the back end of the bolt in there, no big difference. The other thing that comes in the kit and that you'll have to do for a 9mm is to get a heavier buffer weight, because it's a simple blowback. You don't want the thing to be slamming all the way backwards. It's liable to do some damage to either the buffer spring and probably the bolt catch, because it does hold open on the last. So these kits, and you can get these are heavy weights. You can actually do it with the springs too, a heavier weight buffer spring. This is the Yankee here buffer. Now this is significantly heavier than the other one, the one that's in the 223 lower. So let's go ahead and get started, and we'll put this thing together very, very simply. Okay, so we'll move that out of the way, get this here. The first thing we've got to do is we've got to get this, the old buffer out, okay? And I'm going to just do it fairly easy. Depress it a little bit, and I'm going to just push the buffer spring down. And then of course, the old buffer comes out very, very easily. I'm not even going to take it all the way out. Just take the old buffer, and this is a lot heavier. This is a lot heavier than the 9mm one. And this is the T2 for the spikes. I'm going to have to put that in my other AR. Okay, so now I'm going to just put this back in, and then I'm going to just slide it all the way back until it locks in. Oops. There it goes. Okay, so got that. We're almost there. The next thing we have to do is we have to put the adapter here, the 9mm adapter, into the mag well. And again, there's a slot right here, just like if you were inserting a regular magazine for an AR. It goes and it initially locks it in position by just pushing the mag release button. And so you can just really slide it in. Make sure that the roller is all the way down, and the set screw inside here is backed out a little bit. And it should just roll right up in there. And you can hear it click. So let me just take a close-up picture of that. So I've got it in there right now. The set screw is not locked in, but you can see it's pretty locked. But you need that set screw because you want to make sure that when you have a mag release that the block doesn't fall out. And I don't think it would. I've never seen that. I've never had that problem. So that looks pretty good. And you can see the feed ramps. We'll get a close-up of the feed ramps there. Okay, so Next thing is I'm going to take the, and let me get my up close glasses on so I can see. I'm going to take and tighten the set screw. And it's tough to get in there. You might want to have, I think the kit came with a long set screw, but I think I lost the little key. I mean the hex wrench. There we go. It's in there now. I can feel it tightening up. Let's make sure it's in there nicely. It sits in there perfect. You really can't screw this up. So let me get some up close. You can see the little set screw in there. And as I'm tightening it up, so I'm going to tighten it out. I don't want to over tighten it because I don't want to bust it. But it's pushing against the mag well itself. Okay, there we go. That's about as tight as I can get it with my 2 fingers. Okay, so now you have it. Basically, you have the lower set up. You know, and everything is functions just exactly the same. This, you know, the magazines and everything function, and they use those SMG mags. The Colt ones or some of the other aftermarket ones. So let's go ahead and put it together. We got the buffer in there. Move all this out of the way. Oop, let me get my pins open. We'll make sure that it's goes together. No problem. Front, okay. We got that, and we're just going to lower it together. Perfect fit. Okay. Now let's do a little function check. Function check is good. So we got our 9mm upper, the Yankee Hill upper on this, no problems with this Spikes Tactical. So we're ready. The mag block's in there, and you can see this. Let me go ahead and take a few pictures here. Let me turn it around the other way. Itself, you can see where that goes and how that works. Okay. Okay, let's talk about the magazines that are used. Now, it's interesting with the different magazines that are used. Now, this is a 32 rounder. This is one of the clones. I think it's the Metal Form brand. And what I did when I initially got this is I really polished it up because, man, this thing, I think it had like Cosmoline on it or something like that. But I took some Mother's metal polish and I polished everything up, lubricated it so that you could get in it. Because these things are a booger to get rounds in. One of the things I'm going to have to get me is one of those loaders, because after about 10 rounds you can barely get your fingers, and I'm a pretty strong guy with fingers, you can barely get those to go in. Now, these basically just slide in, just like any normal magazine, and it just locks right into position right like that. You can just see it. And then, of course, they just release, they drop. They should drop. Should be free enough where they just drop out, just like that. Okay? And like I said, the last round does have hold open, so you can see that the bolt stayed open even with this empty magazine in there. So let's just take a close-up look inside with the magazine in place and show you how this looks inside. Okay. You can see how the hold open goes for the last round. Hold open. Okay, these are great. I mean, it looks great, and they make 10 rounders, 20 rounders, for this weapon, and it is nice. It shoots really nice. I'll get the AR out of the way, but I just wanted to show you how these fit. Now I've got a number of rounds here, different kind of rounds. Let me just set them up in order. From lightest to heaviest, how's that? And all of these have functioned in my my AR. Okay, on the left here we've got some Tula 115s steel case. They fed perfectly, operated really nicely. Those were supersonic. I mean, those are nice. Those are not suppressed, and they function great. Now these here are these Missouri bullets. They're 124 grain. They're the sort of the flat nose style that are coated with that red material that you can buy. Now these are using blue dot as the propellant, and they are subsonic. They function just perfectly too. They feed good and they function perfectly. These ones over here, I bought these, and I forgot the brand name, but they're 158 grain ball, and they're supposedly subsonic too. Now they also function great. It seems like that the heavier the weight is nice. I mean, and the accuracy on this thing is incredible. I mean, of course, I'm only shooting at 50 yards or less, but I mean, it is nice. And it's got a good little punch on it as far as recoil, and it's great. So let me just kind of show you these as they go in. In order to load these, you just kind of roll them in. It's kind of like a little style to get them in there. Now these, the 115 steels, they go in it. And see, right away at about 4, it starts to bind up a little bit, and it's just because of the design of these. These are not like NAGPUL or anything like that. And let me just show you a close-up of these. These are the Tulas. But these also fit in there nicely. See, I already hurt my finger trying to put those suckers in. Those are nice sharp little edges, right? So those fit and run and cycle good. Now these are the 158s ball. These probably ran the best. The balls probably ran the best, but everything ran good. So you can see that. That's probably more typical. Those are damn heavyweight suppressed. Now I'm going to be putting my my suppressor on there once I get it, and it should be fairly quiet, because I mean, this is pretty loud. Okay, one more look, and we'll wrap this one up. So what we have here is a Yankee Hill 9mm double diamond upper with their iron sights, and mated to a spikes lower that has a regular AR kit in it for the lower kit, and we're using the Han Precision mag block that goes in from the bottom. So hopefully that helps you to get an idea of what it is to put one of these together. Very simple, and I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised with how well these shoot, as I was.